We're looking at sunny skies throughout your morning and into your afternoon. As you head through the day, that high temperature will get up near 69 degrees. Mostly clear skies through the evening and overnight hours. A very cold overnight low today will get down around 39 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Any views expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of WSIC.
All systems are a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats. Taking care of Iredell with North Carolina State Representative Jeff McNeely is about to begin. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Iredell County. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. It's a nice day out there. Started out a little chilly, but it's turning out very nice, very nice. Hey, got a great show today. Got Representative Dean Art from down in Union County coming on. He was one of our senior appropriation chairs. Dean works a lot on doing different things as far as the education side, and the senior chair also big in the energy policy that we do for the state. And I know a lot of people say, well, what kind of policy does the state have? Well, we actually have quite a bit of policy in energy and different things. And Dean, having an engineering background, has the expertise to work in that industry for sure. So we look forward to having him on in the middle of the show. So anyway, hey, just want to, say, well, I think we had tough times at the balloon rally. We had a great crowd come out. The weather did not cooperate. We had some rain on Friday night, and then we had some wind. And so tough times, but hey, when you bring Mother Nature into your business model, anything can happen. So, folks, I'm sorry if it didn't quite go like you wanted to, but I hope you had a great time. And if you're listening and visiting Statesville or Iredell County, please come back and see us again. We'll do it again next year, and hopefully the weather will be better. So we're just going to count on that. Had a really neat experience, got to do this. We've been involved with it a while. There's a organization called Safe House Project, safehouseproject.org, all together there. Go on that and take a look. What it is two young ladies. I say that because they're younger than me, but they're both Navy veterans' wives. Both of their husbands, I think, one's still active and one maybe is retired now. But Christy and Brittany basically founded this in 2017, I think it was. And it sounds a lot like what it is. They got involved in trying to help stop human children trafficking. It's a huge problem in our country, in this world. So many kids are being abducted in Sound of Freedom. I hope if you hadn't got to see that yet, please go see it. It just breaks your heart. But you need to know and understand the plight that's going on around this world, but also directly in this country. And Charlotte happens to be one of the top. We won't say top. We'll say bottom 5, because they're one of the most trafficked area of human and child trafficking in our nation. So, wherever there's major interstates, wherever there's big cities and they can move them in and out and around, it happens. And these children are being abducted anywhere inside our country, to down at the border, to all over South America, to all over the world. And it's sad. Sick individuals here, basically they're kidnapping kids left and right. Y'all may remember that little girl. It's not too long ago, about a month or so ago. We're just making that one extra loop on her bicycle in a state park. Next thing you know, she's gone, and they find her in a cabinet of a crazy man a couple blocks actually from where she lived, and they were 50, 60 miles from their house. So there's people, unfortunately, out there that are just watching and waiting to try to grab your children, your grandchildren. So I want you to think about that. What would you do? And would you be willing to help this organization help prevent that? Because the life you may be sparing of this tragedy could be somebody you love. So safehouseproject.org. Take a look at it. They have a training model that helps identify. The Iredell Statesville schools actually use this training model, and it's great to try to understand and pick this up. So there's a lot of signs out there. People don't realize exactly what it is and what's going on. But it's critical, very critical. If anybody would like to call in and talk about whatever, this or any of the other stuff we're going to bring up this morning, or whatever's on your mind, 704-873-1400. Love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. Getting back real quick here and some of the political stuff that I'm supposed to talk about, but that human trafficking thing plays on my heart really hard. And I think I got Joe outside here. Maybe if I can grab him back in here. I think the phones is ringing. We'll try to get you. Just keep ringing. Anyway, redistricting is in full swing, and the House and Senate maps are out. And Iredell, pretty much on the state level, has remained the same. So my district, Ray Mills, I think we got a caller, Joe. If you want to bring him in, we'll get him, see what we got. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who do we got?
Yes, it's Homer Hobbs. How you doing?
Hey, Homer. How you doing? How's the pumpkin sale going?
Very good. Listen, I got something. I don't know if you're actually real familiar with it or know of it. I'm pretty sure you know of it. Senator Sawyer was on, I think, almost 2 weeks ago now. But I don't know who that fellow is that's with her. He's always fellow that's with her on her program. She brought up the fact that there was a bill passed or going to be passed to reorganize the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Are you familiar with this?
Yes. Well, they're not necessarily completely reorganizing it, but what they are doing is bringing in oversight. Right now, the way their bylaws are set up in the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, and I didn't get involved in this, Vicky did. Her and Todd Johnson, Senator Todd Johnson, Senator Jim Perry, maybe Senator Mike Lazaro were real instrumental in. Also, Representative John Bell from down in Goldsboro area. So they were real instrumental in bringing this about and work back and forth. The process is kind of weird. The director, I think her name's Q Tucker.
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, Miss Tucker, she's kind of the judge, the jury, the warden, the whole 9 yards. Whenever it comes time for an appeal, she's on every level of the appeal process. She makes a ruling and then sets in on all the appeals and decides that she was right. And no matter what the appeal is, it seems like. So this is going to give a little bit more, clarity to this, and also bring in some oversight so she's not the judge, jury, and the warden and everything all in one. So that's the way I understand it, and I've read the bill some to a point, and I've got no problem with it. I think it might be something needed. It kind of wonder sometimes if we don't go too far, but when there's a problem, we're where the buck stops, in my opinion, in this state. So.
Well, let me say something. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association is a merger. When I first moved here many years ago, there was a Western North Carolina High School Association, and the eastern part had that was the state association. And somewhere along the line, they merged. And it seemed like there was a board set up with equal members from the west and the east to govern this. And I reckon Ms. Tucker, Q Tucker, took over somewhere along that period of time. And is that board still in existence?
It is.
Okay.
But they kind of,
so they have no control over what happens with the North Carolina Association.
Well, the board is controlled. She's the head of the board, so she's their chairperson, and so they actually pick their own board. So they're not appointed by anybody but themselves to appoint. So it's kind of a close knit group. We'll put it that way. And sometimes that's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay. Could be.
Yeah. So anyway, I think this will be. I don't think it never hurts to have oversight at all from whoever doing whatever. Anybody involved in something that involves our children or involves the citizens of North Carolina, then they should be oversight for sure. We're gonna have to take a break here in about 15 seconds, Homer. But anyway, you got anything else?
Yeah. Just that. Let me say one more thing. There was a question about a huge fund of money.
Hey,
I
got to get you.
Get the money,
hang on.
Not doling it out.
Hang on, I'll get you after the break. We got to take a break. Hang on.
Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely will return after this short break on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The WSIC yard sale is this weekend. Come by the radio station and enjoy a day of fun. The world-famous Pat Shannon will be hosting a special edition of the Home Ad Show. Live music, food trucks, bouncy houses, Selling starts at 6 a.m. this Saturday. Yard sale spots are free.
No.
Pumpkin picking at Kerrigan Farms. Experience the pumpkin patch at Kerrigan Farms by booking your experience now at kerriganfarms.com. kerriganfarms.com for a pumpkin picking adventure. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Want to enjoy a night of magic? Eric Jones, a worldwide award-winning magician, is coming to Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Eric Jones, the magician, this Saturday. Doors open at 7 p.m. kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. Jousting nights, mermaids, fairies, dragons, oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We're looking at sunny skies throughout your morning and into your afternoon. As you head through the day, that high temperature will get up near 69 degrees. Mostly clear skies through the evening and overnight hours. A very cold overnight low today will get down around 39 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Johnson's Parts and Supply, your Auto Value Auto Parts store for 42 years, carries a full line of Wix filters for cars, trucks, and all types of heavy-duty equipment. Johnson's Parts, your Auto Value Auto Parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
It's Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, back here is kind of with the middle part of the show till we go to our 11:30 break. Sorry I had to cut Homer off there. I didn't really hear his answer or question that he had. Hopefully maybe he'll give us a call back. But I will say this, I'll put a plug in for him. If you need pumpkins, Homer's down there on 115 right across from the BP station right there. That's his stand. So, and Homer, don't remember, if you have a good year, go ahead and help Representative Jeff McNeely out for these free advertisements. No, I'm just teasing. Can't actually do that. But anyway, on the federal level, on the maps, that's where things maybe have changed. Like I said, Iredell state level maps stayed the same pretty much that I could tell. But on the federal level, Iredell's still in the 10th district, which means we are represented by the Speaker of the House, Representative Patrick McHenry, at least for a while, maybe longer. Who knows? Seems to be more issues there. According to a lot of pundits out there, they're saying that it looks like the way the maps are drawn right now, probably 10 of them are going to be red, maybe 3 blue, 1, we're not sure, kind of purpling up for grabs. You know, it really goes back, though, to the quality of the candidate that's running. They will tell you that this is gerrymandered, and that's a fancy way of saying, oh, well, they stacked the deck this way and they stacked it that. But what I've found truly to be is that a quality candidate can win an election. And that's what you got to have. And so we'll see what kind of candidates are put forth by both sides, and we'll see how the chips fall. But it's yet to be determined if anything's much different. Right now we're 7-7, so we'll see. We'll see. I still think the candidate means more than the district to a point of how it's sloped. If you're telling the people what you're going to do, what you need to do, and what needs to be done, and then go about doing it. That's what you need to do. And back to this Patrick being the Speaker of the House, it looks like he's going to remain the Speaker for just a little bit longer. U.S. House is, once again, having issues. Jim Jordan has now withdrew his bid to become Speaker. They had 3 different votes, and it failed 3 times. It kept getting worse and worse. Now, I understand that Jim's kind of the mentor to Matt Gates, the man from Florida that started all this with Kevin McCarthy. Now, I'm not necessarily saying I'm a huge Kevin McCarthy fan, but I do think he was able to get things done, and now we're not being able to do anything. So have we gained anything? This was more of a personal vendetta, I feel like, than it was truly a plan in place. Evidently, Matt Gaetz and his people didn't understand how politics work, and you actually have to have somebody else lined up. So let's go and take a call. Looks like we got somebody called in. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
Hey, everybody. This is Sick and Tired Patriot.
Hey, Jesse. How you doing, man?
Vicky gave us a real good lesson on gerrymandering Friday.
Oh, did she? All right.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty cool. I was going to see if you could give us maybe next week, give us a lesson on something. Maybe what Zionism is.
I'll tell you what. I'll start doing my homework, and we'll see what we can do. We'll see what I can kind of give you a lesson on how to choose a Speaker of a House, and the way they're going about it in the federal is pitiful. I'm telling you.
It is, man.
You get all that. Here's the thing about it.
What was wrong with Jim Jordan, man?
The problem is that him and Matt Gaetz are buddies.
Yeah, I know he's got his hands full, and I would like to see him continue on doing what he is doing. And to take away from that would be a backward step, I believe. But
Here to me exactly what happened, Jesse. Matt Gaetz had a problem with Kevin McCarthy, and it was more on a personal level than on a political level. And he saw an opportunity to do a hatchet job without any preparation for what has to come next. I always say you better figure out who's going to take whose place before you start talking about getting rid of somebody.
Yep.
You got to have a plan. No plan here. There was no plan here, which really should bother a lot of people. It bothers me that they were haphazard enough to do what they did.
It's like they're doing it to try to drag time out.
Well, unfortunately, the clock is ticking.
I know.
The play here is to go ahead and get a spending reduction bill passed and send it to the Senate as soon as you can and make them chew it and look like the bad guy. But by waiting to the last second, like the House has done, they look so disorganized. They're the ones that have the mud on their face.
Yep.
And they don't understand how this game works, evidently, and that's what's bothering me.
Or do they?
No, they don't, because they're not playing the game the way that you need to play it to make sure you don't walk away with all the mud on you and the other people walk away with a clean white shirt. I haven't been in this game long, but I've been in it long enough to understand the dynamics, and the dynamics they're doing are wrong. And so they need to get themselves figured out and get back to governing the country. And Matt Gaetz, they need to kick him out of the conference, and I'd love to see him kick him out of Congress almost. Even though McCarthy didn't do the things I really enjoyed, I'm not going to get rid of that man till I've got somebody.
A bad time. That's for sure. It was a bad time.
I'm not going to get rid of that man till I know I've got somebody in place that immediately can step forward and lead and get the votes. And they didn't do that. They didn't do it. You can't do this. You got to have a plan. You can't come in here haphazard. It's not like running a convenience store. You just can't come in and hire and fire because the person's sleeping at the counter and figure somebody else is going to show up and help run the store. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. And that's the problem with Jim Jordan. Because of Gaetz, he had made so many of the centrist people in the middle that are Republicans working in blue states, and we have them. California's got more Republicans, than any other state, but they got twice as many Democrats. So you're still going to have some Republican districts, and it put all those people in peril. So if you don't get those swing districts, you can't hold the majority anymore. You just can't. So you got to have the centrists.
Somebody like Mark Roberts throwing his name in the hat there.
Well, I hope he's going to be governor. I hate to lose him to the federal.
I know.
I mean, so
got a lot of hopes for myself.
Well, let's hope. Let's get him in the governor. Maybe after 4 years or 8 years there, then we send him to Congress. Maybe our Senate or something. So I do too.
All before you can walk.
That's right. That's right. But they need to go ahead and get the doors shut and not let anybody take any bathroom breaks. Don't send any food in. And let them figure this out. Now, somehow, that's one of the ways you negotiate. And get it done, and then you go out and vote.
Leadway going there.
You don't.
Seeds for leadway.
Yeah, you don't have a vote when you know you can't win. That's not good.
Have a good one, Jeff.
See you, Jesse. See you, man. Looks like we got another caller. Let's take him, see what we got. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got? Mel lost him. That's all right. That's all right. So anyway, we got to figure this out, and I'm deeply worried. I do have faith, and I'm praying a lot for them. I hope we all are, that we go ahead and get this country moving. There's a lot of things going on. I think we might have got them back, Joe. I see the light flashing over. See what we got. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
Yeah, this is Chris.
Hey, Chris.
I just wanted to call. You know, I know people don't like Matt Gaetz, and I don't know him personally, but I think he was doing what his constituents wanted. You know, we didn't want Kevin McCarthy. You know, us conservatives, I know you Republicans wanted Kevin McCarthy, but it took 15 votes.
Well, I agree.
McCarthy should have never been there. He should have never been there to start with, and we could have had a conservative. Jordan, anybody would have been great. But the bottom line is we don't want McCarthy. He's a liberal. So why do we want a liberal in there making deals with Democrats? He said that Joe Biden did nothing wrong to get impeached. What? So you know, we can get mad at one group. We need to get mad at the whole Republican group. You sound like you hate Gaetz worse than you do the Democrats.
Well,
so that's our problem.
Chris, let me tell you what I dislike. I dislike a man that doesn't use his brain and uses his emotions, and that's what Matt Gaetz did. You got to have more of a plan than just getting rid of Kevin McCarthy. You can't just get rid of somebody.
Jordan.
Well, they
all you got to do is for Jordan.
And you wasn't going to get the votes unless he worked it. But instead, he reflected in anger and ended up putting the whole thing in chaos because he didn't keep his cool and use his thoughts to get the thing lined up. They should have had a process in place. If you get rid of one, you better have somebody else sitting in the wings that can hold the votes and can get it. There was no plan. That's what I'm mad about with Matt Gaetz. No plan.
Everybody supposedly loved Jim Jordan until he put his name in the hat. Jim Jordan was not allowed to put in when McCarthy ran. And I blame Jim for that. He should have stood up then. But anyway, you know, my point is, this is the Republicans' party. Our problem. We argue with each other.
Oh yeah.
And we need to quit. I mean, you're throwing off on Matt Gaetz, but Matt Gaetz is a conservative. Around here, that's what we are. It's conservative. So we appreciate that. I know he looks like a salesman and all, or car salesman, but at the end of the day, y'all are sent there to do what we want, not what y'all want. And what we want is a conservative speaker. And that's it. Thank you, sir.
All right. See you, Chris. And, you know, I'm hoping that whoever they do elect will be a conservative. I am a conservative. But like I said, you got to have a plan. You can't just fly off the handle. You can't just haphazardly do something and think it's going to work out. So, and that's the problem I got with Matt Gaetz. You know, his father was the head of the Florida Senate. He's kind of been spoon-fed politics all of his life. He's rumored now he's running maybe for the governorship in Florida if DeSantis steps down. So, you know, I look at him as an opportunist one way or another. Speaking of the Florida legislature, and I don't know if I can get it in because I got about 40 seconds, but they have proposed to allow the ability for a lot of younger kids, teenagers and whatnot, to be able to do more in the workforce with the approval of their parent and guardian. And the liberals out there are saying this is like enforced child labor. Folks, I learned to rock when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. It ain't too early. I think what they're trying to do is going to help them as far as their labor force. I think it's a great idea. They're going to be painted as child labor camps, I guess. Who knows? All right, stay tuned. We're going to have our guest, Dean Arp, coming on here just in a little bit. So hang on for the next part of the show. Thank you. Hey, Dean, you there?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Doing good. All right, we're going to bring you on. Give me about 3 minutes or so, we'll have you on.
You got it.
All right, dude. Just hold tight. See you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Trucks and all types of heavy-duty equipment. Johnson's Parts, your Auto Value Auto Parts store. 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We're looking at sunny skies throughout your morning and into your afternoon. As you head through the day, that high temperature will get up near 69 degrees. Mostly clear skies through the evening and overnight hours. A very cold overnight low today will get down around 39 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Fall is here, and Little Shavers has the supplies you need. Wheat straw, pine needle, grass seed, pelletized line, landscape edging, and railroad cross ties. Got a deck that needs staining? Little Shavers has PPG paints and stains at prices you can afford. Fall is a great time to replace your furnace filters at Little Shavers. Get the products you need at reasonable prices from Little Shavers, 3301 Salisbury Road in Statesville.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford in Statesville.
Randy Marion in Statesville continues to grow. We have added Mitsubishi on Folger Drive. So what does that mean? That means great deals on a new make and model in Statesville, but it also means Ford Pre-Owned is moved right on Gateway Crossing Drive beside the Ford and Lincoln new car showrooms. So come see us today, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln, Pre-Owned Vehicles, Gateway Crossing Drive.
RandyMarionFord.com.
Live music, vendor booths, and community yard selling. Fun for the whole family returns to Statesville for the WSIC Community Yard Sale, October 28th at 1117 Radio Road.
Regular yard sale space is free. Or reserve a premium vendor spot for $50 American.
I have a feeling it's going to be beautiful.
The WSIC Community Yard Sale, October 28th, 6 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Bing, that's the end of that.
Be a part of the conversation.
I listen on the way to work.
Have your say.
It's more than just opinions, it's facts.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Speak with NC Representative Jeff McNeely at 844-STUDIO-4, taking care of Iredell on WSIC.
All right, we're back here with our guest. We got Representative Dean Arp on the line. Let's see if we can bring him in, Joe. Hey, Dean, are you there?
Hey, Jeff, how are you doing this morning?
Man, I'm doing great. I hope you are, Dean. You doing good?
Oh, yeah. We had a great weekend. Glad to get the fall weather in. It's beautiful out there.
It's very nice. It's a good time. No wonder people want to move to North Carolina. They just walk out today. They don't know why. Well, I'll tell you what, right. Dean, I don't think I've had you on. I'm pretty sure I hadn't. And sorry I hadn't got you on sooner because you're an important part of our caucus and what we do in the House. You're one of the three senior approach chairs along with Donnie and Jason. Tell us a little bit, who is Dean Arp? So my listeners up here in Iredell County can tell us. You'll know who you are.
Well, that's great. I'm a Charlottean native and grew up, went to high school up at North Mecklenburg. All our families were farmers up there and had a family farm up in Cornelius and up in that area, in Long Creek. And went to the Citadel, graduated from the Citadel.
All right.
Wanted to serve there and went to the Citadel and eventually got my master's out at UNC Charlotte, and I'm a structural engineer. Build buildings and work with architects, and I love all things buildings and engineering. I was on the school board in Union County for 12 years prior to me serving in Raleigh.
Bless you. Bless you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We have a great school system, and so I didn't really have any bones to pick. I loved education. Being an engineer, I got to do the thing that I love in engineering because of education, and
That's
so
right.
I love education. And it's an important part. We got a great system up here in Union County, and so was served for 12 years there, and then I've had the privilege to serve Union County for 12 years in the House, North Carolina House. So I'm going on my sixth term, finishing up my sixth term, and really privileged and blessed, brother.
Well, you are, and got a beautiful family. You got one grandbaby or two? I can't remember. Two
grandbabies. Got a little granddaughter and a grandson.
Well, there you go. So there you spoil them rotten. I know that. You and Miss Ann.
Absolutely. That's right. That's right.
Well, let's jump in a little bit and let's talk about the budget, because it went on and it went on. And you know, we sent a good budget over to the Senate, I guess, back in May? First part of May, wasn't it? And of course, they sent us something back. It was so messed up. It was going to take a couple months to fix all the commas, the I's, and the T's and get everything crossed and dotted. But, you know, and I know one thing you worked on big was a lot on the salary side, too, if I'm not mistaken. So that was one of your big things in trying to hammer this out. Tell us a little bit about how we come about where we are with some of our state employee salaries and the mindset that we worked through and negotiated. Because, folks, remember, it's a negotiation. When it left the House, we had some pretty good percentage increases for state and teachers and all. So tell us a little bit about what went on with it.
Absolutely. As you know, it's a process, really. This biennium, the budget started in the House. It's a little bit different than the federal government, where the budget always starts in the House of Representatives by, with the Constitution and so forth. In North Carolina, our practice has been to alternate bienniums. Last biennium, the Senate started the budget. This biennium, the House started the budget. So we have to do it early. A lot of times it's before the anticipated revenue comes out on there. So we put together a good budget and the House proposal, sent it over to the Senate. And the Senate did their priorities and budgets and sent it back. And then we've been negotiating in conference for many, many months on there. And we narrowed it down. It really was held up over the gambling issue and whether or not to extend the casinos and the gambling piece of it. We did Medicaid expansion, but then we agreed fairly early on, based on the revenue numbers, what the state pay raises would be, as well as what the teacher raises are. And so we were able to do that pretty early, because it's a function of living within your means. We want to reward good employees and their hard work and represent that in a great salary, but we also have to live within our means and our budgets and so forth. And so that's an important part of a conservative budget,
You know, and I had a lot of people say, well, with inflation like it is, you got to figure that in the salaries, and you do, but you got to understand the state builds stuff. We're in construction of roads, buildings, maintenance, everything. So we felt inflation just like everybody else did. Yeah. Plus, we're trying to help people with their salaries to fend for themselves on inflation, which is kind of the double whammy. It gets us from both sides.
Right, it does. And this concept, this wild spending from the federal side has led to rampant inflation. And I even heard the president say that he thought inflation was good.
I know.
Aspects. and I just shook my head, and I don't know what world that is in, but it certainly leads to a cost. In fact, prior to this last president getting in, President Biden, we actually had real wage growth in North Carolina.
We did.
We had strong wage growth where the actual raises were outpacing inflation, and people were actually earning more money. Now, with the inflation taking such a bite out because of rampant spending and the dollar just not worth as much as it is, then you're actually losing ground, and that pain is felt from the families. It's felt in every family across the state. And so what we're trying to do is make up for some of that. And we understand that these raises, in many cases, are just barely keeping up with what the inflation is.
Well, one of the things we talk about all the time down there is non-reoccurring and reoccurring.
Yeah.
And so when you start talking salaries, you're talking about reoccurring expenditures.
That's correct.
Then that's where things, I always laugh and joke. I said, oh, well, we'll give you a bunch of money one time.
Yeah.
Getting it another time and another time and another time, that's where it gets tough, because so much of our budget, when y'all even start, it's almost like that part's done because it's reoccurring from budgets before that we have to fund these different programs. We have to fund the different divisions and everything and keep all the lights rolling all the time. So when you start looking at salary increases, well, now we're talking about, reoccurring expenditures that will be put onto the next budget and the next budget. And so I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Why can't they just give us a raise? Well, okay, we give you 15% now, but in 2 years we look and the economics ain't so great and we give you nothing. Well, did you gain?
One of the things I'd love for the listeners to understand is that when we talk about a surplus, that's where we estimated a certain amount of revenue for 1 year, and the taxes came in higher than that. And it's a one-time amount of money that's come into the state that's available for us to give back to the taxpayer, which we do in tax cuts, or that's an indication in some sense that we're taking too much from the people to fund the government. So we can look at tax cuts there, but it's one-time expenditures, and you can't spend that on. However, in this budget, we had a really good budget. We have teachers got a 7.4% raise over the biennium. State employees had a 7%. There's critical need for bus drivers.
Oh, yeah.
They received a 9% raise. Highway Patrol, we're just so many vacancies there, and we're trying to make the highway patrol to keep you safe and make sure we have law enforcement taken care of. They got 11% raise. And then because we had the surplus, the retiree bonus, we gave a bonus rather than a recurring COLA. But we've been a one-time bonus of 4% there.
Yeah.
On there all the time while cutting the income tax to 3.99% on a glide path that makes sure we don't outrun our revenue increases there. So a lot of numbers, but it's a great budget. We spent over $620 million on mental health programs, and that's such a critical need. $2 billion. We've got this thing called the State Capital and Infrastructure Fund, the SCIF is what I love to call it. Being an engineer, I love working with the capital aspect of that. We have been able to invest over $5 billion, an additional $2 billion going in last year budget, last biennium, plus another $2 billion this year going to water and infrastructure, water and sewer costs, all the time while reducing the state debt. Over the last 7 years, we've reduced our state debt by 45%.
Wow.
And been able to spend in the capital well over $6 billion. School construction. This year we've put over $1 billion from the lottery into school construction. That was the same as what we did last biennium. We put $1 billion into school construction. So for the last 4 years, or last 2 years plus the next 2 years, we will have put over $2 billion into our schools and so forth.
Wow. Hey, we got a hard break at 11:45, so we got about a minute or so. Yeah. One of the things I think a lot of people don't understand, too, or listeners don't, teachers, we got a 7.4% raise. We moved up some of the salaries, raised the base, the bottom, up. So we done that. But when we do these tax cuts, that's money you're going to get to keep out of your paycheck. That's a raise. You may not realize it, but it's a raise by keeping more from coming to Raleigh and in your pocket. And when we do these infrastructure things, water and sewer, that's actually a raise too, because we don't have you getting charged more tax rates from the municipalities and the counties and whatnot. Absolutely. So your tax burden is lower in a couple different ways, which is going to accumulate up to a higher set on that 7.4%. It's probably going to round up closer to 9 when you look at it, especially if you live in city, maybe 10 even. So it is a good thing. So we got a hard break here, about 10 seconds, Dean, but you hold tight. We're coming back for the last part of the show. We're going to run to about 11:59. So hold tight, and we'll be right back to you. All right, folks, keep listening.
More Taking Care of Iredell with NZ Representative Jeff McNeely is coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here's your WSIC.
Hey, Dean.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll be back in about a minute and a half or so. Hey, we'll go to the second part here, this last part. We'll talk on the energy bill we did and on nuclear and clean energy. So we'll make a move to that then.
You
for
got
that last part.
I wonder if I could address the local supplement. That's huge. We do the red and then the average teacher pay.
We'll do that right when we come back and then break into the energy. We'll have about 12 minutes to talk. So it goes by quick, man. It goes by quick.
You tell me how's that all right?
You're doing good. Oh, you're doing great. Doing great. Thank you. You're exactly what I wanted. Exactly. So you're doing fine. Fine. All right, we'll bring you back here just in a sec. Okay.
Adventure. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Want to enjoy a night of magic? Eric Jones, a worldwide award-winning magician, is coming to Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Eric Jones, the Magician, this Saturday. Doors open at 7 p.m. kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We're looking at sunny skies throughout your morning and into your afternoon. As you head through the day, that high temperature will get up near 69 degrees. Mostly clear skies through the evening and overnight hours. A very cold overnight low today will get down around 39 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Hey, this is Jeff McNeely, owner of G&M Milling Company in beautiful downtown Lowray. We at G&M hope you come by and see us for all your livestock needs. We stock feeds for all kinds of animals and hay too. We also have seed for a wide variety of forages for your animals. So come on by 4000 Taylorsville Highway, Statesville, or call us at 704-873-5758. We're worth the drive. Thank you again for supporting small family-owned businesses. God bless.
Taking Care of Iredell continues. Here's your host, NC Representative Jeff McNeely, on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. Got Representative Dean Arp on the line. We're going to bring Dean back here and finish up the show. Dean, you there still with me?
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, we sure are.
All right, cool. All right, now I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the supplements that went out to your local supplements because we helped with that, given the more rural ones. Tell us a little bit about that on Teacher Center.
Absolutely. One of the things that we noticed was that the rural counties, the less wealthy counties, couldn't compete for high-quality teachers because they couldn't pay the local supplement. So what we started doing last biennium, and continued and increased it this biennium, was providing what's called a teacher supplement fund to low-wealth counties. This year we've put in over $30 million, and what that does is increases the local supplement, in some cases by over $5,000, so that the local teacher pay can compete with the big city teachers and what they can pay because of their tax base. And so what that does is effectively allow teachers to get paid on par with what some of the more wealthy counties are, so that they can attract high-quality teachers and administrators to live in the more rural areas where there's a great quality of life and things of that nature. So that is an incredible, very wildly successful program. We've been able to increase the starting teacher pay by 11% to $41,000 a year.
I think that's going to be big because we're competing.
That is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to fill these spaces for these teachers and get them a real starting wage where they can live and work and do the things that they love and are called to do. The average teacher salary is increased to over $60,671, and that's on par with the state median salary across the state. So, we're trying to keep up, recognizing that these good, hard workers are doing a great job.
Yes, they are.
Hard.
We definitely appreciate them. We definitely do.
Yeah.
Hey, some of the other things, too. I know that you've worked a lot on a lot of different energy policy bills, and I've had a lot of people say, why is the state worried about energy policy? That's a federal thing, yada, yada. Well, here's the thing. We want our power delivered to us how we want it in North Carolina and not mandated to us from Washington, D.C., so we want to set our own. So talk a little bit about this last bill we just did, where we basically went back and tried to do some redefining of what clean energy is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things, and I hope the listeners can appreciate this, North Carolina has some of the lowest energy costs. As a small business owner myself, energy inputs are one of the biggest costs to a business.
Huge in my business, huge.
Oh, absolutely. And if we can keep those energy costs low, because they don't come down. If they raise up, they don't come down.
That's
and
right.
so we've got to fight tenaciously to keep our energy costs low and clean. But I think the public wants good, safe, clean, affordable, and reliable energy. And one of the cleanest energy with zero carbon is nuclear, and yet it's been cut out of what's determined as clean energy. That makes no sense to me. And so we've recently passed Senate Bill 678 over the governor's veto. That simply includes nuclear as part of the clean energy definition and portfolio. A lot of different energy sources have their place, and nuclear is a great part of that. One of the things that we have to understand is with the electrification of our transportation, everybody wants more electric cars and so forth. We have been able to grow in North Carolina, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Because of the energy efficiencies we've been able to achieve. In other words, we haven't had to build because of the growth, because we've realized greater efficiencies. But we're quickly outpacing that, and as we grow more, we have to build new generations. We had a rolling blackout this Christmas day.
Yeah.
And that was in the morning when solar wasn't available. So we have to take a hard look at the affordability and reliability, as well as how clean they are. And I think we can do that. This bill puts nuclear on par. This is not my grandfather's nuclear back in the old days.
Oh, yeah.
This is the advanced nuclear, small modular nuclear. We call it small mod nuclear, where you can package those together. We've put these on aircraft carriers. We can certainly put them in cities and towns to generate power, and we're going to need to do that with the electrification of transportation and other growth that we're seeing.
Yeah, they talk about how the life expectancy on these transformers on the poles now are used to be 20 years. Now they're 10 because they get no rest at night. They're charging stuff. They're working all the time, so we're eating them up. There's a limited amount of power that can go through them, and there's already a shortage on them. So there's a lot of things that what we've done. One thing that you do brings about another and another and another, and it's a cascade of different stuff. So it's really critical. And we listened to the Democrats' arguments against this bill, and I swear the more they talked, the more they made our argument for us. And I'm like, okay.
Well,
talked about how one of them said, well, at McGuire, all the nuclear fuel that's ever been there is still on site there. Well, that sounds good to me. It wasn't transported. It didn't have to take a chance of getting spilled. They're able to watch it. You're maintaining it right where it's at. Less handling. I think it's working. So
The thing about it is, and people understand this, is that nuclear energy is our base load generation, and it is our base load. And then as we have peaks throughout the day, we're fast becoming what we call a dual peak. Our morning peak is greater than our afternoon peak. Actually, people think, well, in the mid part of summer, that's going to be our greatest energy demand. Actually, it's the cold mornings in the winter that actually is our greatest peak in North Carolina. And so we have a combination of other energy sources that when the energy demand is higher, like clean burning natural gas and solar, when the sun's out, and even wind to a very small degree when the wind blows. But here's the thing. When you go home at night and you want to plug in and charge your phone and cook dinner, the sun ain't shining, and so that's that base load generation that we depend upon. That's why it just makes sense. And all the above strategy, nuclear, especially the new modular, the new technology that we're looking at, is so much more efficient, so much more safe, and quite frankly, I don't see an energy future without including nuclear as part of that, a major part of that.
Well, and you know this, and just like all the rest of us that have any common sense do, the wind doesn't always blow. The sun doesn't always shine.
Yeah.
You know, there's different things going on. And on top of that, and me and you've talked about this, and we talked about we're going to work on a bill, you know, where I'm looking at all these rooftops on the farm. You know, I'm always looking on the farm. Believe me, folks, I concentrate on other stuff too, but I'm always looking on the farm, trying to figure out how to make our farmers more profitable than other states' farmers, and then we'll survive, and you know, we'll feed them and everybody else, and so I'm looking about trying to figure out a way. You know, if solar can get efficient enough, we put it on these hog houses, these chicken houses, turkeys, dairy freestyle, whatever the rooftops are, because what I see happening is our best farmland is being chewed up by the solar panels, and I don't have a problem with the solar panels. I just wish they'd put them in the gullies instead of on the flat land. And you know, we made that bill. What was it? Was it 851?
Yeah,
we did
951.
951. We did a couple years ago. You know, I laughed about it. We passed this bill to increase solar, it looked like, in it, and some other, you know, renewables. And then we turned around and begged and pleaded and got more money into farmland preservation to keep them from putting solar on it. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? So we got to look at where the space is on the farm that we can actually do the panels and not interfere with the production. And it's like I told them in a committee, I think that one day you were chairing, I said, you know, I don't know if solar works or not, but it's a dadgum good shade tree, if nothing else. And so,
well, we're looking at also byproducts, you know, the methane production and the energy waste off of there is a part of that, and there's new technologies that can do that efficiently and start to recap some of the waste products off of our farms. And we need to be very creative and look at all of those capabilities to convert waste to energy, and as part of that. And solar has a very strong place, but it's not going to. You can't just keep multiplying the solar because it's in the same time zone of the day.
Yeah.
You know, the sun only shines and you can only multiply it.
And
What
you
we've got to
and you
do
can only
is
store
have
so much.
24/7.
Yeah,
Exactly. The battery storage. And then, of course, we always have to have an eye toward how are we going to safely dispose of the waste on down the road, heavy metals on there. So, you know, it's a complicated issue, but I'm very proud of where North Carolina is, and we've got some of the lowest energy costs in the nation, and we have to fight and struggle to keep it that way, because once they start going up, they don't come down.
That's right.
So,
Dean, I tell you what, we've done run out of time, but I appreciate you coming on the show and informing us all, and I'll see you tomorrow down in Raleigh, so have safe travels, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Hey, dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord, we just pray that you give us wisdom. We pray that you lead us and guide us in all we do. And watch over us, dear Lord, and be with those in the Middle East. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. All right, folks, until next week, take care.
You've been listening to North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely. Join Jeff again next Monday morning at 11:05 for Taking Care of Iredell on News Talk WSIC.